it ain't no friend to me.
Waging war on mediocrity, it ain't no friend to me. It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses, bringing you another edition of Motivational Monday. I hope you all are as pumped up as I am about this Motivational Monday. For all my replayers, if you would, please fast forward about a minute and a half while I share this out to all my social media platforms and to people I'm starting to see eyes come into the room. For the eyes coming into the room, would you please shout out your boy and say what up? Do me a favor too, please. Please share this to your outlets as well and tag people inside this video. Help get this word out tonight, because I honestly believe that this is going to change a lot of lives tonight. I do believe that this is going to help people see that their life can be dramatically different if they choose to make it that way. So please get in that box, share it out. I'm about to do the same. For all my replayers, give me about 30 seconds as I share this out. Vaniqua, what's up, sis? How you doing? I hope you're having a phenomenal week. Thank you for being prompt and on time, like always, Vaniqua. And tonight is going to be a bread breaker moment. Go ahead and tell y'all mama and them and cousin them to go ahead and hop on this Motivational Monday, because this is going to be one for the ages. Because tonight I plan on giving you back all the power that you might have been stripped from you in your youth, or some other factor that's taken place in your life. Tonight I want to talk about some things that are really going to bless you. Hey, Virginia, thank you for joining us. If y'all would please type names in the box down there, tag people, share this out. I'm doing the same thing right now. I want to go ahead and blow this one up. And see, this one is going to be one where people are going to have to sit in here and listen. You know, of course, most of my Motivational Mondays require thought, because that's just how the great I am, Awaken My I Am, that it requires thought. And so these should be no different. Please give me about 30 more seconds as I share these out. Please, if you can, type somebody's name in them, man. Share this out to somebody that otherwise might not have gotten this. And we're going to get ready to break this bread in about another 30 seconds. What's up out there, everybody? Holler at your boy. I'm about to share this one more time, then we're going to be ready to rock and roll. Share it to my page for one. And I appreciate you all doing the same out there. All right, let's get this show on the road. Thank you, Virginia, for tagging people in this video. So let's get this show on the road. I don't believe on having people that showed up on time be prolonged as we wait for other people. Hey, Lisa, what's up? Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you going back, listening to my last video as well, and putting comments on there. So tonight, episode 97 of Awaken Your I Am. I've been taking these idioms and we've been breaking them down. These idioms are things that people said for a long time, but we never really understood what was the purpose of the idiom. Like tonight, we're going to take the idiom, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. How many of you all have heard that out there tonight? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Or maybe even some of us have been told that ourselves, that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And I remember growing up in my youth, my dad was in and out of prison, and my uncles on my dad's side were in and out of prison also. I remember being told all the time about how what my fate was going to be. Yeah, come on, Vaniqua. I remember all the time being told what my fate was going to be and how I was supposed to struggle based on what my dad has been through, based on, you know, him dropping out of high school, and hey, Angelique, thanks for joining us, and my uncles dropping out of high school, and my cousins dropping out of high school, and all of them deciding, all of them were very talented as it relates to sports. Still sharing this out. All of them were very talented as it relates to sports, but none of them could seem to put it all together to be able to gain a scholarship, or to be able to get into college, or to be able to do any of those things that that they wanted to do. And I remember them telling me how I was going to be a statistic, and how my life wasn't going to be much different than theirs, just because based on what he had done in the past. And I remember close friends to the family and people that I respected had no belief and what was on the inside of me or what was on the inside of my sisters based on my father's DNA, based on what my dad and what the men in that family had been through, based on what my mom had been through. So when you hear that term, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, let me give you a definition of it. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree is a phrase that is typically said in connection with children. Hey, Tina, thanks for joining us. Typically said in connection with children who show qualities or talents that are similar to those of their parents. The idea that a person inevitably shares traits with or resemble his or her parents or family. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, that talk can come from our own parents. It can, Vaniqua. It can, Vaniqua. And that's why we have to protect our I am with everything in us. So the apple doesn't fall from the tree came around in the 1830s, and it was originated in the United States. And we still use it here now, commonplace. And you can hear that idiom in any community, at any gym or any school. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Thank you for tagging people, Tina. And so you can hear that a lot of different places. And I want to challenge us tonight to begin. Hey, Mom, thanks for joining us. I want to begin to challenge us tonight to start to take the blinders off of where we are, the seat that we sit in. I'm gonna break bread in a minute. Give me a few minutes. We're gonna get to it. I need to take my time here because I think this is one that can be for the ages. This is one that is very impactful. And I think that if people understand what I'm about to say tonight, they take back the power and the energy back. They take back everything that the enemy thought he'd taken from them. They can take it back if they understand this concept that I'm about to speak about tonight. The apple. In those days, they had a big old net. 1830s. They had a big old net under the apple tree. And the purpose of the net was to not spread beyond the branches, because they assumed that all of the apples doesn't fall far from the tree came from the expression that while the nets were underneath the tree, that I could gather all the apples as they got ripe and begin falling to the ground. They could gather all the apples. Whether apples fell was very predictable. When the stem was right, the apples would, when the stem is right, when the stem is at a desired point, the apples fall, the net will catch them. And so they're saying is that the future of that apple is so predictable that they can cast a net and harvest the majority of those apples without lifting a finger. I'm going to break bread in a minute. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So when we hear that term in our secular day today, when we think about the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I want you to get that visual. What somebody is saying is the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree is that your future, your life, your lot in life is predictable. They saying that based on what you've given, the behaviors you've displayed, based on the genetic code that you've got from your parents, it makes what you are. Oh, let me say it like the Bible. What you was, is, and is to come is obviously predictable. That's what that's saying. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And we hear that and we never really cast it down. And we allow that idiom to live in our lives. And to Vaniqua's point, we hear those things and those things penetrate and pierce our hearts. And truly, it really do affect what we believe and what we think. I'm coming on in here in a minute. I'm just warming up right now. I got to lay my foundation right here. I got to lay my foundation and I got to lay it strong because it's too many people. Number one, let me set it up. It's too many people that's living with the belief that my life and my lot in life is predictable. So they cast narrow nets. Oh, I'm going to break bread in a minute. So they cast narrow nets because I believe that my lot in life is already fixed. So I need not cast my net any larger than the branches that I grew under. So if my mother's ceiling was here and my dad's ceiling was here, I need not cast my net any wider. Why? Because the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And subconsciously, that there are 35, 45, 55, 65-year-old people that's still living under the casted net of the narrow nets, Angelique. You got me on that one. Hey, they're still living under the narrow nets that were cast in their childhood. And most people are sitting there waiting. Oh my gosh, I gotta break bread. And most people are living their lives under that narrow net, just waiting for their spirit to depart their body fall back unto their narrow nets, and they're never known beyond what they did and why they were on this earth. Narrow nets, narrow nets. And the nets we cast are because we subconsciously believe that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There are many of us that have determined that since I am big boned, since my mom was big bone, my grandma was big bone, my dad was big bone, I'm only going to be big bone in my whole life. And so we've made that decision that since I'm going to be big boned anyway, I should just eat whatever I want to eat. I should do whatever I want to do. I should drink whatever I want to drink. I don't have, there's no need to watch what I eat because I'm big boned. We don't say obese. We carve out a term that subdues what we would believe, that makes it comfortable to sit under the narrow net. We don't say I'm fat. We don't say I'm obese. We say I'm big bone because it makes it comfortable to sit under that narrow net. And we're just waiting until diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, cancer, or some other things that runs in my family. Come on, Vaniqua. That runs in my family just come and take me out. Why? Because I have a narrow net. Yeah, I'm gonna break bread tonight. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And we're going to talk about this tonight. That's why, come on, Virginia. Come on, Lisa. That's why I got to take my time tonight. And I'm going to tell, for you all that listen to this stuff I'm breaking bread with, I got something for you at the end of this. Hang in here with your motivational teacher. I told y'all, this is not a place where you pop in for 3 minutes and think you're going to find something that's going to change your life. This is something you have to sit and marinate with. Guess what? We've been sitting under that narrow net for the last 35, 40 years of our life, and we expect to change it with a 3-minute video. Oh, I want to hear a 3-minute video about how 3 steps to changing my life. And you've been sitting under that narrow net for 40 years and don't want to put in the work, don't want to invest 1 hour and 10 minutes into your own personal development to cast a wider net. We got to change. Let me say it this way. We got to change the radius of our net. If we only allow ourselves to sit under the radius of those branches of that tree, then we'll never outperform no more than what that stem can hold. I just broke bread. Our life will be the sum total of the amount of nutrients that is able to get in that stem that is under that narrow net. If we don't begin to broaden our horizon and start getting new information, I'm going ahead of myself. If we don't start believing, number one, I like what you just said. If we don't start believing more about where we are, about who we are, about I told you this, I'm episode 97. All of these messages have been about one thing: awakening your I am. The net, that man, come on, man. Your net you were never supposed to fall right underneath that tree. I'm telling you right now, there's something so special about you. I want you to begin to say, man, I live a netless life. That there's nothing around me that can withhold me. Why can't the branches, I'm going to break bread in a minute. We got to get to the point where I don't see myself bound by what they said about me, where I don't see myself bound. Sometimes I'm about to break bread. Thank you, Joy. I'm about to break bread. I can't see myself even bound by sometimes what I think about me. That's why you have to allow the great I am to continue to awaken your I am. The great I am have been chasing you since that doctor popped you on your behind to awaken your I am to who you were truly meant to be. We sit we sit. That's why I'm trying. That's why I said last week. I'm not going to go into the big discourse from last week. You got to go check it out. But we talked about it. What are we doing with the investment that the great I am has given us? What are we doing to shape who we are in this earth? So we talked about how it originated. We talked about the nets, and we talked about as the term continued to grow, they decided, okay, now we don't need nets to catch the apples. They decided that all we need now is flat ground. And so if the ground was flat, guess what? The apple couldn't roll. And so now they will allow the apple to fall. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And so now they moved it to where we need to put the apples on level ground. So when the apple fall, they hit level ground. We pick the apples up, we put them in there, or we have somebody harvest the apple. We got a whole thing of apples and we move on. And now it's even more predictable. Now that I control the ground of which the apple falls on, now it's even more predictable by what the apple is going to do. And the challenge with most of us is that this whole world, I can't get away. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Oh man, I was about to go into my run right there, y'all. I need to slow up because I got the latest foundation. So the apples, so the farmers got very sophisticated. And the fact that now all I need is level ground. It takes nothing for me to harvest the apple. They got machine or little things they push over the ground, over the apple. Hey, Tracy, thank you for joining us tonight. The Reset Coach, thank you for joining us tonight. And you push it over the apples, and it harvests the apples. You don't even need a human to pick it up. So they got even more sophisticated, ladies and gentlemen. With the whole apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And now we've used that same thought process to say that the apple, if your mom, your dad, if you grew up in an environment where there was debt, there was lack, there was unbelief, the apple doesn't fall from the tree. That root is deep down on the inside of you. And I remember from college, I took this class, and I'm going to pull this in, and this create different debates. So I'm curious to know, because, on here, we kind of a little bit controversial. We don't, we read into things and we create things as well. So this is going to be a little controversial. I remember from psychology where they talked about nature versus nurture debate. There's a nature versus nurture debate. And I think this ties very well into the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because they're saying that if you are nurtured in this environment, that your life can't outperform that. And I was looking at some statistics on all that. They said the average person, 88% of people in America done move more than 35 miles from where they grew up. 88% of people that grew up in a certain town is going to probably end up in that town. Let's talk about nature versus nurture. In the nature versus nurture debate, nurture is defined as all genes and hereditary factors that contribute to a person's unique physical appearance, personality, and psychology. Nurture is defined as the many environmental variables that can affect a person, including their experiences in early childhood, family, social relationships, culture, and community. So nature says, Margarita Fowler, Anthony Hawk Neal, your genes got together. The most your son could be is the combination of those two sets of genes. Nurture says that if the environment shapes the kid more than the genetic code, is what nature says. And so there's been an age-old debate talking about nature versus nurture. And I thought it would be befitting to bring that in this conversation as we talk about the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Why? Because it's all about shaping that mindset. It's all about shaping that mindset and about shaping your future. And see, this is what I do know. That if you don't give yourself a vision, a dream, or a goal, somebody else will hire you to chase their vision, their goals, and their dreams. See, the challenge with Americans is, you want to know how to be in the 1%. You want to know how to be in the top 2%. Stop thinking, looking, and following everybody else. Nature versus nurture. That's saying if I bring you up in the Calio projects, come on, man, Master P. They're saying, if I bring you up in the Calio projects and I put you in that environment where there are not a lot of resources, where I put you in an environment where you witness death, where you witness unbelief, you witness debt, poverty, and sickness, disease, you witness shot after somebody being shot after shot. You're living right next door to another criminal that when you two get together, that's what's up with the project. When you put two people that with the same mindset together, they find ways to get in more trouble. Hey, Taylor, they find more ways to get in more trouble. And we say, why? And we sit there and we argue over the projects and affordable. We sit there and we argue over those things to put more like-minded people in the same environment. Why? Because the people that are putting these people in that environment saying, let's take them out of my neighborhood. Let's put them in one neighborhood that they can tap together. Why? Because it's nature versus nurture. If somebody was really trying to solve a problem, they would say, hey, let's take this low-income house and put it in low-income household, and let's put them next door to middle-income households, and let's see, set in a different environment, can they produce different fruits? But that's not what the people in power do. They want to put all the people that look alike in one group and put one group. That's why I hate to do it. I got to do it. I love growing up in the country, nature versus nurture. Growing up in the country, you could see a $200,000 home next to a single wide trailer. I grew up in the country, red dirt clay. You could see it was nothing to see a big old house right next to a mobile home. And see, now they've gotten to where they build these big subdivisions and and out there on the sign near the subdivisions, houses start at 300,000. Houses start at 500,000. Why? It's nature versus nurture. They don't want it. They want to keep a certain group of people that don't have the right nature. Come on, man. I'm about to break bread. And then they say, I don't want you to get the right nurture, so I need to price you out of this neighborhood. Oh, somebody better say, talk to your boy right there. I broke some bread right there. We talking about gentrification, and we talking about redlining. But we need to talk about the why behind a lot. It's nurture versus nature. If you let me tell you what these people are betting. These people are betting, and I say these people are building these $1 million homes, that's building these big houses. These people are betting that people that don't have my mindset cannot come in this neighborhood. They are making that bet because in order to come in this right neighborhood, number one, most of us had to have the right nurture. Because I got a study down here, an analysis by Johns Hopkins University, focused solely on Baltimore, said, come on, man, I am coming somewhere. And I'm telling you right now that you belong in either one of those neighborhoods you desire to live in. Yeah, Mitt Romney said, go to the school you can afford. You know what they're saying? You ain't got the right nature, and you definitely not going to get our nurture. I can run out this room. I can run out this room. You ain't got the right nature, and you definitely don't have the right nurture. And I'm not going to come and let you sip off my nurture. I'm going to break bread. There was a study done by Johns Hopkins University, focused solely on Baltimore. Come on, Lisa, I'm coming. Focused solely on Baltimore. YouTube, you better get in there. Not YouTube. Facebook, you better get in that box. YouTube wearing y'all out over here. Johns Hopkins, solely focused on Baltimore. They tracked about 800 students from first grade to their late 20s. The study found that only 4% of children from low-income families achieved a college education compared to 45% of children from higher income families. And from this study, they came to this conclusion. Cultural environment and surrounding undoubtedly impact the eventual success of a child, as they determine available opportunities and govern how a child will perceive their social surrounding. Come on, social standing. Let me break that down a little bit more. From that study where 4% of low incomes got a college degree, they said, listen to me now, cultural environment and surroundings undoubtedly played a role. It undoubtedly played a role, impact the eventual success of the child. They said, but they determined that how that child viewed available opportunities and how that child governed and perceived their social standing played a bigger role than even the environment that the child came up in. They didn't see many opportunities to do something more. They didn't see many people that looked like them winning in life. They didn't see people like them gaining additional experience with a growth mindset. They didn't see people like them getting a college degree, gaining an education. And so they said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They said, you look at nature, sure enough, nature shapes the child. Listen to me. Sure enough, nature has it has a role to play. Genetic code, color your eyes, height, color your hair, all that stuff. It has a role to play in that. Surely the background where you grow up in has a role to play in it. Come on, Ant. Surely it has a role to play in it. And it does. I'm not negating, but they concluded in this study from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore that it was more about how that child eventually determined available opportunities and how their child will perceive their own social standing. Come on, man. I'm coming right where you are. This is why you got to have an Awaken I Am, because I'm telling you, I know who I talk to. I know I came up in a place where my nature it screamed debt. We came home sometime and we didn't have lights in the house. We came home sometime we were out of gas. We didn't have heat in the midwinter. We came home sometime we didn't know how we were going to make it. And so my nature said, you're not supposed to make it. And come on, man, I'm coming somewhere. Just give me a second. My nature said you're not supposed to make it. Yeah. But my nurture was completely different, because although I came up in that, my mind was never fed that this is where you belong. This is where you're supposed to stay. This is where you're going to die and where you're going to end up. There's the ability in each one of us to outperform and change every situation in our life that we do not want and that we do not want to stand. There's the ability and the power that works on the inside of us to change whatever external circumstance that we want to change. Is it nature versus nurture? I'm going to break bread. Is it nature versus nurture? It's wonder, what are you nurturing? Are you nurturing your nature? Oh, yeah, that was your awakening in full drive. And now we're about to go overdrive. Is it your nature that you're allowing to drive your decisions and drive your behaviors? Is it your nature that when you see a presented with a problem, you tend to look at the eyes of what I've been through or the environment that I'm brought up in? Or is it your nurture? Because I'm telling you, the great I am has been seeking to awaken your I am since the foundation of you hitting this earth. Are you allowing yourself to be nurtured by the right person? Or are you allowing your nurture to be put in the right environment? See, it's time out for making excuses about what I didn't have growing up, where I didn't have the best family, where you know what, there was somebody that was adopted, where my dad was never there for me. There was somebody who mom and dad wasn't there for them at all. At least you had one. Well, I don't know who my mama and my father is. There was somebody that was aborted at the same time you were. Your story could have always been worse. We got to stop looking at our nature and then looking at it as a limiting factor on our life. And we have to look at our nature and say, this is part of my why. The moment you understand that my nature was never meant to harm me, my nature is a part of my why. I'm sitting here because of poverty. I'm sitting here because of debt. I'm sitting here because of lack. I'm sitting here because I had to run through glass ceilings. I don't want you to get the cuts. So I'm sitting here pouring you out this information to help you see. I got to change. I got to change the story that I tell myself about my nature. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I'm going to answer this question. Is it true or false, motivational teacher? I'm going to answer that question for you in a little while. The apple will not fall any farther than the story you tell yourself about your nature. It will not fall any farther than the story that you tell yourself about your nature. Doesn't matter. You take the same kid. You take the same kid that grew up in the hood and didn't have water, didn't have lights, and you call them Sasha and Malia and give them to the Obamas. I guarantee you that their nature, that their nurture will outperform their nature. Guarantee you, because what it would change the story that they believe about themselves. It's always been about your I am. I'm on to something with this Awaken Your I Am. This it's always been about your I am. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yep, they gonna say that about you. Why? Because they only want you to live in the boxes they're putting you in. And there's so many of us that believe that the same people that's boxing me up are the same people that got to release me. Why are you sitting there looking, waiting for words of affirmation from people that condemn? Well, you never told me you love me. If they didn't tell you they loved you, you don't need to hear it. So move on. Move on. Stop allowing somebody else's nature or somebody else whatever to affect you moving into your own nurturing. I'm going to break bread in a minute, man. Y'all got to give a boy a second. Available opportunities. The study that John Hopkins says it's the impact of eventual success of the child is determined by how they see available opportunities. I know you 35. I know you 40. I know you 27. I know you 55. I know you 65. They followed these kids from 2 to 20, and they came down to 2 points. Yeah, come on, Lisa. They came down to 2 points. It's about these kids. What determined their success or not was one about the child's ability to see or determine available opportunities. Number one, how do you see available opportunities? Do you see that, well, I can't do it because of this? Or do you see available opportunities to say, I'll be well able? I'm more than able to go over in that land. They got men over there look like giants. Well, I'm more than able to go over there and conquer those giants. How do you see available opportunities? Because I got to tell you, how you view these opportunities. Ooh, from 2 to 20. From 2 to 20 was how they said these kids viewed opportunities. My question is, how do you view opportunities? Because probably, chances are, how you view opportunities was birthed in you during that phase of 2 to 20. Well, they don't gonna put nobody that black in that role. Well, my color is a limiting factor. My color, they man, I don't see nobody that look like me on the executive team. Well, why don't you be the first? Don't see nobody not looking like you on the executive team as a barrier. Look at it and see it as an opportunity to get somebody like you on the executive team. Well, you don't usually see people like me from my background able to start their own successful business. Why are you seeing that as a limited opportunity? If you see it as a limited opportunity, there's 98% chance based on this study that you are truly going to be, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Based on the John Hopkins study, only 2% in that environment was able to move on and get a college degree. Why? Because they saw the available opportunity and somewhat had the awaken I am enough to believe that, yes, I heard Les Brown say it, yes, I am the one. Yes, I am the one. Vanico said, be the change. Taylor said, that's a word. Come on. Said one. It said, number one, how you're able to determine available opportunities. And number two, how you perceive your social standards. Oh my God, that is strong. How do you perceive your social standards? Oh my God, gotta break bread. I started down that whole housing conversation about they built these houses starting at 400,000. They built these communities starting at 300,000. They put apartments on this side, and the minimum amount of the apartment is $1,250 to rent a one-bedroom apartment. Why? Because they want to keep people that can only afford $350 apartment, $350 apartments out. Why do they set those price points? Motivational teaching, nature versus nurture. They only want people in that complex that has that mindset. And for some of us, we're waiting on the government. We're waiting on Nancy Pelosi. We're waiting on Schumer. We're waiting on I don't know who a lot of them folk are up there. We're waiting on them, buying them to be the answer or be the solution to our problems. And I'm telling you that they cannot be the solution because they helped created the problem. They helped created the problem. It was it was their ideas to go put all these people in low-income houses in this neighborhood, in the projects. You go, I remember, come on, man, I grew up, I know all about the projects. You go to the projects, you don't see no grass in the front yards. Why? It's the mindset. They trying to keep that mindset localized in one place. Because they know that if you didn't come up, because you don't perceive you have the right nature, you're in this nurturing, in the environment that's nurturing you now based on the nature that you believe you have. And they saying, as long as I can keep you with people in that same mindset, you will never be able to join the few, the proud, the Marines. I'm telling you, the mindset of this world. And for some of us, we've been thinking that this world is for us. I'm telling you, this world is doing everything in its power to keep you average. Come on, Shamika. I'm taking on the world today. I'm all in your lane today. They are doing all they can to keep you working that 8-to-5 job. They doing all they can to keep you compliant, let you make $9 an hour, and the CEO make $40 million a year. They're doing all they can to subdue your I am, and we go in happily with no exit strategy. I don't think there's anything wrong with a job, but I think you got to work a job for a mean. If that job is not moving you in the place of your goals and your dreams, you need to find a job that do, because they are using you. Whether you're a high-paid labor or low-paid labor, it doesn't matter. They're using you to drive their bottom line as you sit there, and they make 35, 40s, and 50 millions of dollars based on what you know in your experience. I'm challenging you to awaken your I am and say, I need to get in a nurturing environment around people that will help me develop and discover my true gifting. So now I don't have to drive by and wish I had a $400,000 house. I don't have to drive by and wish I can get in that community with the pool, because why? I have awakened I am, and it's about me getting in an environment that nurtures that mindset and those behaviors. That's the reason they want to keep us out. That's the reason why they wouldn't let slaves read. That's the reason why they don't want you to get this information I'm giving you. That's the reason why most people don't have the patience to sit here and listen to improve their own life. Why? Because they've been caught up in the nature versus nurture game. And I'm telling you right now, truth starts with this information. If you think I'm lying, why do you think advertisers spend millions of dollars for TV commercials that we no longer watch? Why do you think every billboard you drive down, I'm in Atlanta, I got all of them, 85, 75, 285, I-95. I got all the fives over here. Every interstate I drive down, there are billboards 2 miles apart. Why are there billboards every 2 miles apart? Because all of these people are vying for your nurture. Oh my God, Pat, you got to go back and get this from the beginning on Breaking Bread. Every commercial you see on TV is vying for your nurture. Every time you turn on Fox News, or you turn on CNN News, or you turn on, and they are vying for your nurture. They're telling you to come grow up in my environment. Allow me to shape what you believe, because why? There's something on the back end that's in it for me. They not caring about you outgrowing and getting your income to a level where you can leave something for your children's children. They're not caring about you, not you prospering and getting in your place where the great I am has already told you. They are vying for your nurture, because your nurture is financial gain in this economy. Keep watching the news that you're watching. I guarantee you that on the back end of the news that you're watching, the commercials support everything that those news are putting out. Why? Because it's vying for your I am. Everything that you see, everybody that you listen to is vying for your I am. Even right now tonight, the great I am is using me to come after your I am. Everything. These people spend millions and millions of dollars marketing. Why? They get the most influential people in the world. You don't see no old Joe Blow got a tennis shoe contract. They ain't signed me to no Nike contract. Why? Because my influence is not big enough at this stage in my life. It will be, but not at this stage of my life, to influence other people to come and buy Nike. Does Nike care about LeBron as a person? No. Nike only cares about the dollars, that revenue that LeBron can drive to Nike. I'm breaking bread right now. I'm breaking bread right now. And the challenge for some of us is we're looking to these things, and we'll look nature versus nurture. We'll look into a lot of this external, this world system to help us, to help guide us into discovering our I am. No, sir, no, ma'am. The world system is not equipped to help you discover who you are. They're only equipped to help you invest your I am into their discovering of whatever they're building. Watch. Look at the commercials on your TV. They're trying to sell you in your dollars, hard-earned dollars, to come and invest it in them. That's why companies pay so much money. That's why that's why companies, you say, hey, you know what? I think it's my time to go. They say, no, we're gonna give you $2 more an hour. Why? Because they know that your I am is valuable. When are you gonna start seeing it? These people paying millions and millions of dollars for your I am because they want you to invest you with them. Because every dollar you spend, on Gucci, every dollar you spend on whatever is you investing your I am with them. And so they're saying, I find your I am so your I am is so connected to my brand. I'm gonna spend $10 million for a 30-second slot on a Super Bowl commercial because I'm vying for your I am. I want to nurture you. And that's the challenge why so many people end up average, because they allow themselves to be swayed to and fro by so many people. There are so many people in their life right now makes no decisions for themselves. The reason why they go into Starbucks in the morning because somebody told them how good Starbucks was. They had their first Starbucks. Oh yeah, it's so awesome. And that seed was sown by somebody. And who profited? Mr. Starbucks. How did Mr. Starbucks first? Through a commercial. Sowed that seed, and now that same person vied for your I am, and here you go giving Mr. Starbucks, $2,500 a year in coffee, and here you go right now, and you won't invest $25 in a seminar in your own I am. How broke are we? I'm breaking bread right now. Hey, yeah, I like that. How sleep are we? That's why we need to awaken your I am. Everybody and everything out here is vying for your attention. It's vying for your I am. And here we go give it out willy-nilly. We don't protect it. We don't invest in it. We allow somebody to put a commercial on TV of a doggone car, and here we go driving down to the Nissan place to go get a Nissan because I saw a commercial. Knowing right now I don't have the funds, nor is it the time for me to get it. But they said no money down, and they said guaranteed. Doesn't matter what your credit is, you can get one of these cars. Why? They plan on your nurture. We woke. They plan on your nurture. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody around you, I'm gonna say this: everybody and everything understands how valuable your I am is. They do. They do. Your boss at work understands how valuable your I am is. The people at the grocery store or the cleaners you go to, they say, yes, sir. They say, no, ma'am. They say, yes, sir. No, ma'am. It was my pleasure to serve you, because they want you to continue to invest your I am. They want your nurture with them. Everybody is vying for your I am. And most people are the only people on the sideline as it determines to their I am. Can the apple fall far from the tree? Does the apple fall far from the tree? I purchased Kamaya Harris and her sister's book for my 2-year-old. That was her niece wrote from being inspired, and how they awoke their I am as kids in their low-income complex and went on to be successful. That's what it is. Lawyers, all three of them. We got to invest, number one, in our I am, but then number two, we got to invest in our children's I am. I'm about to break the realest bread. They make that car look so good. They make it, you almost can see you almost can smell the new car smell from the commercial, putting you in financial bondage. That's the big truth. Candy, let me answer this question. Y'all don't mind. Let me get a sip of water. Y'all tell your mom and them to get on here. Grandmama and them, cousin them. Tell them to get on here, the motivational teacher to the masses. I would have to remain calm tonight. Vanika already ahead of me. Can the apple, or does the apple fall far from the tree? Caveat. It depends on the ground. Somebody write that in the box. It depends on the ground. Can the apple fall from the tree? The net has been removed. Go 100, coach. I'm going. The net has been removed. They've now decided to put apple trees on level ground so the apples could not roll. So it says the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There are many. I remember Master P says the chance of making out of the Calio projects was over. Come on, Shamika, you know they're probably better than me. I think it's in the 4th ward where he saw murders. He said the chances of making out of Calio projects was almost no chance. But Master P was the one that made it. Tyler Perry, seeing his mom being beat, he made it. J.K. Rowling, from being divorced twice, being a single parent mom, made it. Motivational teacher, like for this for everybody that has a mental illness is real. Don't get me wrong. For everybody about a situation that has a mental breakdown, there's somebody else out there that said, "I'm gonna take this information and I'm gonna be strong." How can I go through the same situation as you and you see the ground half, you see the cup half full, I see it half empty? How we go through the same situation and we see it completely different? It depends on the ground. And I love the story about in Matthew, my favorite book, when he talked about the seed that was sown on all the grounds. Some was scattered on rocky ground, some was scattered in shallow soil, and those seeds did not grow. It depends on the ground. If you plant a apple tree on a slope, will the apple fall far from the tree? Yes. If you plant it on a hill, the apple will fall far from the tree. If you plant it on level ground, it will not go. And conversely, if you plant it in the valley, it will not move. It depends on the ground. And my favorite story, one of my favorite parables in the Bible was Jesus telling this story. And he said, and the disciples said, "Man, you talk about them scattering ground." He said, "That's why you talking these stories. These stories are hard to understand." He said, "Why?" And then this is what he said. Very profound. The good ground represents the heart of a man who listens to the message, understands it, goes out and brings 30, 60, or even 100-fold others into the kingdom. It depends on the heart of a man. The good ground represents the heart of the man who listens to the message, understands it, goes out and executes it. Can the apple fall far from the tree? I am a living witness that the apple can fall miles away from the tree if you hear the message, understand it, have the right heart, and you go out and use it, and you manifest it. Some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. Motivational teacher, why some 30, some 60 to 100? It's to the degree that I believe and I act. Can the apple fall far from the tree? The answer is yes, if I'm willing to go out, change what I said it, unlearn, learn, and relearn some different things. From the foundation of the earth, that the great I am has always been trying to tell you that you're something more than what you came from. The great I am has been trying to tell you when you were sitting out there on the stem of that apple tree, that he had a path for you to go above and beyond whatever you thought you could ever do. But can the apple go farther than the tree? It depends on your heart. That's why I can't blame grandmama for not giving me a stable foundation. I can't blame my daddy for not picking me up and hugging me. I can't blame my daddy for not coming to my graduation. I can't blame my mom for not telling me she didn't love me. I can't blame my well, I didn't grow up in that neighborhood over there with the sign that said $400,000. I can't blame it on that, because the great I am has always laid the path of nurture for us to maximize our, I just broke bread. For the path of a righteous man availeth much. He's always laid the path for you to be able to nurture your way to the right I am. Well, my nature, it doesn't matter about your nature. Be thankful. Be thankful. I'm so thankful that my mom and my dad had me together. And sometimes I see areas where it's so valuable that because my dad was mild-mannered and even tempered, I see a lot of him in me in that way. I'm starting to see a lot of me and him. He said, hey, if you make enough money, you ain't got to go out there and cut your grass. I'm starting to see a lot of that thinking, and I got that from him. And it's nothing, and I like that part of him. But that also, one thing I love about God is that he never gives one person everything. The playing field is always level because there's always going to be an area where you have to work. There's always going to be an area where you got to get in a nurturing environment that's going to help you increase your I am in some area of your life. Lest pride comes before the fall. So there are going to always be areas where I should be looking to grow. I'm not saying that I'm a failure. I'm just saying there's areas where we have to grow. I don't see it as a negative thing. That sometimes I have to remind myself that my security is not in my bank account. Come on, man, I'm breaking bread. Because I grew up in a poverty mindset, I always have to remind myself that the great I am is my security blanket. My security blanket is not what's in my checking account. Come on, man. There are going to always be areas in your life where you lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. There are going to be areas in your life where you will always be recovering. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, but it was meant for you to have those areas to allow your I am to continuously be awakened. Most of us, we get a little success. We get a little total life prosperity, and we stop awakening our I am, and to him 30-fold. To the person that see a little success and they said, man, my journey, my growth journey, I've outgrown what my mama was. I've outgrown my daddy was. I have attained, I've made it 30-fold. Because your heart is not being nurtured in a 60-fold environment. As long as you allow yourself to just say I'm 30-fold, as long as you fall into the belief pattern that all I could be is a little bit more than what my parents were, or all I could be is in this $300,000 neighborhood, or all the size of the scale of my business is only to this, 30-fold to you. 30-fold. To the person that believes, I can go learn a little bit more about my genre. I can go learn a little bit more about speaking. I can go learn a little bit more about resetting. I can go learn a little bit more about the done or the hair replacement specialist. I can go learn a little bit more about that. To him, he deserves 60-fold. I love the fact my wife, like, it's funny because I used to take the boys to get their hair cut. Number one, I started out cutting their hair. And then she didn't like me cutting it. And I said, okay, you take them to the barbershop. So she took them to a couple of barbershops, didn't like the way they cut. Bam. Took them to a dude, right, the most convenient dude, right next door to us, had my son edge up in the middle of his head. So she proceeded, like, can't go to him anymore. Went to the guy a little further down. He was real cheap. We're like, yeah, we gotta go to this dude because we can get 3 haircuts for the price of 1 over there. Went over there. That dude had faded him all the way up, and it looked terrible. And so the guy that we go to now, I'm telling you, placing yourself in the most nurturing environments is going to cost you something. The guy that cut my kids' hair now, you have to book appointments only online. If you miss the appointment, you got to pay a $30 cancellation fee. And so I said to say this, that if you want to put yourself in the 100-fold environment, like we're putting ourselves one of the best barbers in the county, if you're going to put yourself in a 100-fold environment, it requires that you got to get away from the most convenient, the dude right down the road. You got to move away from the most convenient. The dude that closest to you is probably going to get you a 30-fold return. The thing that's the easiest for you to get to is probably going to get you a 30-fold return. That means I'm selling for what I got because I don't have the belief pattern that it's something more. The dude right down the road that cut hair is the most convenient. I'm not selling for that because I believe that if I'm paying for a service, I want a professional. I got to keep moving. The dude right down the road from him might be the cheapest. It might be the cheapest. He might cut it for half the price of the guy that cutting it now. But then again, you can sit there and you accept that 30-60-fold, or you can say, hey, I got to invest something more. Now I got to plan haircuts out a whole month, because if I don't plan haircuts out a whole month, then I'm gonna miss it. Now, in order to make sure that I got my haircuts, I got to make sure that I plan my schedule around giving my kids there on time for them to get them a 100-fold haircut. I know this is simple. This is a simple earthly example, but I'm telling you, this runs parallel to your own life. If you're not willing to go outside your comfort zone, if you're not willing to go beyond where it hurts, you're going to always sit in that 30-60-fold. If you're only willing to give to where it's just comfortable, but let's stretch just a little bit, you're going to be a 30-fold person. That you're going to nurture yourself in a 30-fold environment that does not stretch you, and what you have will be what you get. I just broke bread. What you have is going to be 30-fold because nurture versus nature. I'm not putting myself in a nurturing environment that stretches me much more than I want to be stretched. John Maxwell calls it the law of the rubber band. That tension is necessary for growth. If you're going to expand a rubber band, tension is necessary. Most of us don't want tension on our life. We allow ourselves to be coddled in go back to nature, in a nature environment that will rather be uncomfortable, not having life, and say, I need to stretch myself, do more with my time in order to put me farther down the road. And we allow our average nature to force where we're nurtured. Once you get 18, your nurture is on you. That's why the days, man, the days of just, I'm telling you, the days of just saying, looking at your life and saying all I can be, it just speaks to your mindset that my belief system in my I am, or the great I am through my I am, is not strong enough. When I hear all, when you limit, I'm like, you got to get a different I am. You got to get a greater work shall you do. You got to get a different I am. You got to allow yourself to be stretched. It's uncomfortable. You might cry sometime. It's okay to cry. You might cry sometime. Your body will hurt sometimes. You're going to lose some friends. It's okay. Those are the consequences of tension. Those are the consequences of tension. It's going to happen. Listen, man. Oh, my God, I got to break bread. It's okay if you don't make every basketball game that your child has. It's okay if you don't make every recital that your child has. If you're building. It's okay if you're trying to make something for generations to come. It's okay if they witness you working yourself until you see the sweat as great drops of blood, so they can see what you're investing in them. I never ask my kids for anything that I'm not willing to give myself. I challenge my son to go to the classroom to be the best he can be. And I go to my job, or I come to my Motivational Mondays, and I challenge myself to be the best that I can be, lest I be disqualified from this race. I never ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do. Get outside of your comfort zone. I took a stretch project on my natural job this week. Why? Because I believe the only way to greatness is by stretching. I don't have to have all the answers. You know why? Because the greater I am, greater is he that's in me than him that's in the world. I got answers to problems that I don't even know exist yet. The only way I know I got answers to the problem if I stretch myself. I need God to give me faith. You don't need faith for your comfortable life. Stop asking for it. Oh, Lord, I need more love. For what? You in your comfort zone. You don't need love for you when you're in your comfort zone. I need more joy. Getting out, you know what? Stretching yourself will give you more joy. Actually, seeing the great I am work in your I am will give you more joy. I need more fruits of the Holy. Why? Why are we asking God for all these things we need when we live in a nice, comfortable life? We live in a nice, I'm okay. Oh, just enough for me and my family lifestyle. You ain't stretching yourself. Why are we asking for all these big things? And all I want to do is live a comfortable lifestyle with no tension. And the moment I get tension, I call, I'm so stressed out, I can't go to work today. That's tension, baby. You need a little bit in your life. You need a little bit in your life. Keep moving, because the great I am strengthens me. I'm not looking to be bailed out. You can't be looking to be bailed out. The same people we expecting to bail us out are people to put us in this system. The same people that we're expecting to bail us out are the ones putting us in the system. Nature versus nurture. If it was not so, oh my God, Shamika, I hope you still on here, because now I'm about to take on the school system. If it wasn't nature versus nurture, they wouldn't put you in a high school 12 years, teach you American history with, most of us are not our American history. They teach you their history. They won't put you in no high school and teach you trigonometry, algebra, all these subjects that you might barely ever use, unless you got some common you want to be, hidden figures or something. They put you in the classroom. They teach you proper grammar, which the grammar, not necessarily our grammar, because You listen, Donnell. I don't know if she's on here tonight, but she sounds completely different than we sound. So even if you go to another country, the grammar they taught you is not the same grammar you would use. Even if you use Spanish, they teach you all those different things because this is the standard we're supposed to do it to fit you into their culture. They want you to fit squarely, nicely, and neat inside of their culture. They're teaching you how to fit in and be average instead of saying, hey, and taking you to see, I would say if I had our promise school like the program I had at school, I would take you and sit you with entrepreneurs. Go learn from this person for 6 months. Go learn from that person for 6 months. Go learn from this person for 6 months. Let's see how they built their company from the ground up. Let's see how many no's they had to endure in order to get to a yes. Let's understand and start building tough skin. Like instead of saying, hey, because you made a 70 on an algebra test, that means you're gonna be average. No, sir, no, ma'am. Your test can't comprehend your comprehension test can't comprehend my level of greatness. It ain't my fault that I'm Stephen Jobs and I don't fit into your school system. It ain't my fault that I'm what's the other dude, Microsoft, and I don't fit with Bill Gates and I don't fit into your system. Don't try to put me in your box. I was never meant to fit in. Don't put me in your box. Oh, you got go be nice in the sandbox, and you got to go over here and conform to the rest of them. I will not conform because the great I am is strengthening and awakening my I am. And to me to conform, now you want to talk about what sin is, me downplaying who he is through me. I can move mountains. I'm not going to sit back here and act like I'm struggling when I know I got mountain moving powers on the inside of me. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm breaking bread right now. I got the power in front. Whatever I loose is loose. Whatever I bound is bound. I ain't going to sit here and wonder how the need is going to be met, because whatever I loose, I loose. Whatever I bound, I bound. I got an awakened I am. I'm not going to sit here and cry about what I don't have, because if I'm crying about what I don't have, that means I haven't loosed what I need to loose, and my I am is awake. And the results of my life are my results in my life, regardless of how I came up, because he's always been chasing you to awaken your I am. I'm telling you right now, you better exit this system in a hard way. You better exit this system in a hard way. We need somebody to be able to show people who they truly are. Okay, I know I see you, Miss Jones. I'm not speaking bad. I see Miss Jones, my teacher on here from high school. Miss Jones, I'm not speaking bad against education. I love education. I was a great student in your classroom. But more so, we need to go in and show these kids who they are through the great I am. Well, they've taken God out the schools. What? When you see me, you see him, because he lives in and through me. You can't take him out the school because he lives in me. You can't take him out the neighborhood communities, the YMCAs, because he lives in me. You can take the curriculum out, but you can't take me out because he lives in and through me. We need a group of awakened people to say, son, let me show you who you are. Boy, I'm breaking some whole lot of bread up in here today. Let me show you who you are. From the foundation of this earth, nature, this world system, nature has been trying to put cuffs. Oh, I like that analogy. Nature, my brother, you speaking the truth. Thank you, Miss Jones. Nature, since we came into this earth, nature has been trying to put cuffs on your I am. Nature has been trying to put cuffs on your I am. And nurture has always been saying you are more than what you believe you are. Nurture is always trying to say you are do more than what you think you are. David, you're a king, although you're watching sheep. I'm breaking bread right now. And I know, Aunt, you grew up in a 3-bedroom trailer, 8 of y'all. But Aunt, I'm telling you right now, that's such a gift on your life that people will know your name worldwide. I'm telling you right now, I know you, Angelique, the artist. I know right now you working for tips. I know right now you working commission based, but the world will know who you are based on your gifting. I'm telling you right now, we got to believe so much so in that the nurture. So my crusade in the house, that nurture. If I put myself in the right environment with the right information, with the great I am strengthening my I am, the apple can fall miles away from the tree. I just broke bread. Man, I'm telling you right here, this is one that I'm going to go back and listen to. I talked for an hour and 4 minutes. I would not go on record to say this is the longest Motivational Monday in Motivational Monday history, episode 97 of Awaken Your I Am. I told you when I started an hour ago that this ain't one you want to pop in for 15 minutes because nature has been trying to put handcuffs on your I am. And I'm saying that great I am has been trying to nurture you into your awakened I am since you got popped. And see, we got to choose to be nurtured in the right environment. This right here, this is the right environment. Many are called, but few are chosen. How do you know, motivational teacher, which ones are chosen? The ones that have been nurtured with the right environment. The ones that get the 30, 60, 100 fold. Those are the ones. I'm breaking bread up in here tonight. Ladies, I gotta let me loose this thing, boy. Because when I get in these things, boy, I'll be like, I can talk like Jesus, boy, who pushed away from that boat. They told him, man, you done talk so long. All these folk hungry. He said, go get me 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. I'll feed all 5,000 plus the women and children. If you sit here long enough, all your needs will be met. Why? Because you met nurture. Nature told you you were hungry. Nurture said you got more than enough in store. You got baskets to walk away. Nature's going to, man, I'm going into a hole. Nature's going to always show you gloom, doubt. And nurture's going to always say you got more in the tank when you got the right information. Come on, Joy. I choose to be nurtured. Candy apple, the idiom. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I got to answer that question. Depends on the heart. It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses. DD, what's up, bro? Thank you for popping on here too. Set that strong foundation. I got to do it, bro. And you doing this, you're doing awesome work down there too with them young men you have. And that's the only reason why we do this stuff, man. We want to see lives change for the better. We want to see these young men nurtured in the right environment. That's why we started a nonprofit organization on the South Side. Is to help put people in an environment that nurtures them. What's up, Sam? I got my little brother chiming in, hopping on here today. That's why we do the things that we do, because we want to nurture people in the right environment. You can be whatever you want to be, but you got to get the right information and get around the right people. It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses. I was talking to Lady Queen I Am. She said, hey, bro, you got to go on YouTube just without going on StreamYard, without doing all 3 platforms. And sometimes you just got to go on YouTube. I listened to my sister. She was telling me I need to go do some more YouTube. So if y'all have not, please go follow me on Williams Inspires on YouTube. Go subscribe to my page because I'm going to start doing exclusive content on YouTube per my sister's coaching. My sister coach, see, the motivational teacher to the masses still is being coached. Lady Queen coached me up yesterday hard. And so I'm going to start doing that. Thank you, Lady Queen, for the coaching. Hey, thank y'all for chiming in. Listen, man, it is a blessing every time I see you because you could have been doing, or I see your names, you could have been doing anything you want on this Monday night, but you chose to be nurtured by the motivational teacher to the masses. And that is something I do not take lightly. Every time you come here, I promise to have you fresh bread. I promise to have fresh bread on the table to be broken. The great I am is awakening my I am. And please, if you all have, series or you have ideas that you would love to hear me speak about, put them in the box, man. I love to have relevant, put it in the chat box or DM me. I love to have relevant content for you all to be able to have that fresh bread, because if I'm building content that's not relevant to what you got going on in your life, then sometimes it falls on stony ground. But I want to make sure the content is relevant. So please go subscribe, Williams Inspires, and please drop me 1 or 2 ideas that you would like to see. And until next time, I am challenging you to wage war on mediocrity. Your boy is out.
It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war.